Sometimes it feels we're inside out, and I've made some poor decisions lately. It's coming in air quotes, infused with the scent of potpourri. Films we commit to memory. Crossing the felt ropes, watching from home on my TV, looking at all my eyes can see. They tell me I view obsessively.
I don't know how to bring us into that. So awesome. Okay, hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show, each episode. You can find more of our work at obsessiveviewer.com and more podcasts presented by Obsessive Viewer at obsessiveviewer.com/podcasts. And if you'd like to support what we do here, you can become a patron at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer, where at $1 per month, you get access to over 150 exclusive B-roll episodes. And at the $2 a month level, you'll get access to that and TV review and reaction episodes, as well as some immediate reaction recordings I do after seeing a movie in the theater. And at the $5 a month level, you'll get all of that, plus movie commentary tracks and what I call Patreon potpourri, which is me just kind of talking about some recent movies every now and then that I watch. And finally, at the $10 a month level, you get all of that, plus all of that, plus early access to podcast episodes and previously unreleased content. And again, that's at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. I'm your host, the aforementioned Matt Hurt, and joining me today is a man of many talents who is, we are going to be talking about what you guys just heard. But but we are welcoming back Mr. Mike White. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm great. That's an interesting experience. I'm not shy about like hearing my own songs anymore. That went away a long time ago. But like doing this podcast and then like hearing me sing, and then now you have to hear me talk. There's I don't know if it's meta. I don't know if it's like self-congratulatory. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's so awesome. And I'm just so excited that it's here. We have the new theme song. It is
the new theme song. Yeah, yes. That's what's so cool. I remember you were the first to back the Kickstarter. So yep. We'll talk about this in a little bit, I'm sure. But the theme song, this is a product of when we did our last album. We did a Kickstarter, which offered song shop options where we would write a song with you. And you obviously get to keep that song and do whatever you want with it. And Matt was the first person to back the Kickstarter, and he wanted a new theme song for the Obsessive Viewer podcast. So we wrote a song that's called "A Little Mad Sometimes."
I love
theme
it so
from
much.
Obsessive Viewer podcast. So you
love
just heard
so much. Yeah,
which is the. I don't know. I feel like I'm being a little too bombastic, but I'm excited about it. That's the world premiere. The song comes out tomorrow. Yep. I think this episode is going to drop. It should be Thursday, the 21st.
Yep.
And the song will be out everywhere tomorrow. But that's the first time it's being heard.
So awesome. I'm so excited because, like, okay, first of all, let me say up front that. I was the first person to back the Kickstarter. I had like an alarm set for when that Kickstarter was kicking off, in addition to the email that was going to come through that I already knew was going to come through. Yeah, I was just like, okay, well, I need to make sure refresh and everything, because I was very, very excited about the prospect of commissioning you guys to make a theme song. And,
we set the limit on the song shops at only 6 songs. We know the process for writing a song is kind of laborious, and we're also kind of working on our own music. Right. And we wanted these to be real songs, full band, our full effort, not, just an acoustic guitar and a voice. And so, we capped it at 6, and they sold out immediately.
That's so awesome.
It was really cool, and I'm so grateful to everyone who was willing. And I don't know for certain, but I like to think that there were a few people, and I apologize to those people, but I like to think there are a few people who kind of wanted one and didn't get to because they sold out. So
Yeah.
I feel good about that. It was a cool thing that people were interested in that kind of thing. So
yeah. Another reason why I made sure to get in on the ground floor on that.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And if you guys listening want to hear the song workshop stuff, the song shop, like the one-on-one that I did with Mike and Dustin, where like I was like, I don't know anything about music, but these are the movies I like and everything. You can hear the full conversation on Patreon that accompanies this episode. I think it's like Patreon episode 157, probably. I don't know, but yeah. Check that out. Patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. Just $1 per month gets you access to that. But yeah. Very excited.
We also posted it on my Patreon.
Oh, you did end up posting it there.
As Good as It Gets Patreon.
Nice.
Yeah. It's actually live. You can also hear it there.
Nice.
So maybe this isn't the world premiere. I don't know. We don't have that many patrons. It's more of a donations kind of thing. But this is I'm calling this the world premiere.
Yeah.
That was a preview teaser.
I like that. And I mean our Patreon supporters are going to get early access to this, so I'm probably going to hopefully get this whole episode up maybe tonight. For them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
On Patreon. So yeah. But yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the theme song and everything, because it's just. I mean, it's great, dude. It's so great. I had this idea that like, I was like, okay, I don't know anything about anything, but I like the music you guys make. And I also like 90s sitcom theme songs. I kind of wanted that vibe. So I brought that information to you guys, and then I was like, I think you or Dustin were like, well, let's make a lot of movie references or something. And I was just like, okay, well, I'll make a list on Letterboxd of all the movies that I've rated 5 stars. And you guys packed the lyrics of this song with references to so many movies. It's incredible. Like, I'm going to have a Letterboxd list on my Letterboxd that's going to be, it's just going to be called A Little Mad Sometimes, and it's going to be every movie that's referenced in that with the accompanying lyric that it's referenced, that references it. And it's like 13 movies. Like, and I'm just like, this is so insane. So impressive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know, you as a music fan, I think one of the cool things about music is everybody kind of comes to it differently.
Yeah.
And you're kind of a lyrics first music fan.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of like what you like, but when we talked a while ago about like our favorite songs, you kind of came at it as like what lyrics impacted you most. So
yes,
I knew that was important to you, but if I could kind of rewind it a little bit and kind of talk about really the whole infancy of the song for a little bit. So when you first brought it up, you're like, hey, I want you guys to do a new theme song. And I'm like, for the show? Like, you want you're getting rid of the old theme song? And you're like, yeah, a new one. And I'm like, oh, well, that's an honor and that's awesome. But it's also kind of a huge task. And I'm also so grateful that you said that you wanted a mix between 90s sitcoms and what we do. And I think if I could be so bold, it's exactly that.
It is just it's exactly what I wanted. Like,
thank you. Thanks, man.
It's not even exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I wanted in like stuff that I didn't realize I wanted. Like, I'm still blown away that you guys like it I don't know, it warms my soul.
There's so much to talk about with this song, man.
So
I could go to every bit of minutia.
Oh yeah, but like, and I mentioned this to you via text, and I've mentioned it to you a couple times. I'm just like, you guys put a Motion City soundtrack like reference in there. Yeah. And
long time listeners know Matt's favorite band is Motion City Soundtrack. I don't know if it's his favorite one, but I think mine and Dustin's favorite record of theirs is Commit This to Memory. So we wanted to find a way to get that in there for you. The rest
so
of the song
well.
is not really autobiographical. I mean, I think you could kind of trace a narrative or at least themes that kind of speak to some of the things we talk about.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that was kind of one. It's not a movie reference at all. It's just for you.
Yep. I love it. I was just so tickled by that. And then like when you sent me the first like demo of it or what have you, like I was in line at like a crew car wash with my girlfriend, and like you sent it via like voice memo on text, and I was like, oh, I gotta listen to this. I gotta listen to this.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so like I forced her to listen to it, and then like I was listening to it, and I was like getting chills, and I was like, this is exactly what I like. It's exactly what I wanted. Yeah. And then like,
well, I didn't know that this was just going to be like a love fest. This is awesome.
Oh yeah.
This is making my day.
Oh yeah. Like I've spent, whenever it was like it's been like a month or two since I first got those done, because like I didn't know like any of the lyrics or anything. And like, I was just like, you had sent after that, like we talked on the phone, and then you sent a picture of like the lyrics, and I've got to say it is so Mike White that it's like it's handwritten lyrics and everything.
What do you mean? What do you mean by Mike White? What do you mean by that?
No, I mean that as like I know just how much you are very much I don't want to say a Luddite with it, but like I know how much you prefer like handwritten stuff and everything.
I'm a tactile.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have obviously you guys can't see, but I have the lyrics written out, and the song arrangement I also do by hand.
Nice.
Yeah. I can't during the songwriting process. I kind of watch, people sometimes write songs on the internet and they're kind of typing away, and I'm definitely a tactile.
Yeah.
I still have to write and scratch things out, and I like to see the process. Like I have different versions of it as well. And I think seeing the scratch out is important.
Yep.
So when you first brought up the song and I kind of got past the initial, like, what is this going to sound like? I kind of like circled a couple of things in my mind or in my memory from theme songs. You know, our frame of reference for TV is the same. There is no Venn diagram. It's just a circle.
Oh yeah.
And TGIF was a big deal. So I thought, okay, I want, kind of like a Jesse Frederick style, like Perfect Strangers, Step by Step, Family Matters. Like he wrote all of those. And so I definitely wanted the whoa from Step by Step.
I love that so much. Yeah.
So that's like a direct ripoff. The drums that start the song, it's a little roll at the beginning. That is specifically, it's not the same beats, but I wanted to start like Boy Meets World, the second theme song they came up with kind of starts with a drum roll. So I wanted to do that.
Okay.
And then the rest of it, it is pretty much a ripoff of the Community theme song. I think that the staccato verses, which is not a 90s show, but it's kind of an important show to us.
Very.
Yeah, the staccato guitar playing, the dun, 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 and I wanted the drums to kind of roll on the tom. I'm getting a little technical here, but that song is very bouncy, like da 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 da, and I kind of wanted to have that staccato kind of sound. So I took that kind of 90s alt radio flair, which I think is kind of as good as it gets sound anyway. I think you can kind of trace 90s theme songs throughout a lot of our work, especially pastiche in modern parlance. But then to kind of modernize it a little bit more, I wanted to add that Community kind of sound to it. And then you specifically asked for that pop punk sound, which is why we kind of left it crunchy. Like the guitars are crunchy, so it sounds like a pop punk song.
Nice.
And then I think in that, if you listen to that recording of us hanging out and workshopping the song, I was kind of messing with that riff on the guitar. It's a pretty simple walk down riff. It's the chords are not complicated. And I think you can even hear us like humming a basic melody to it.
Yes, there. I was listening to that today, and like knowing what the song is now, I was like hearing the song as it was being created, basically, which is amazing to me. And then like I remember, I had this memory when I was listening to it that like when you are kind of humming along to it, or kind of like doing like the melody to it and everything. I remember like in the moment, I didn't want to ask you guys if you had anything written, but I remember like my ears perking up thinking like, is he saying some lyrics? Is this going to be the lyrics?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to be like, hey, have you guys written any lyrics yet?
Right. No, I love that. Yeah, you know, people ask like how, like where do you start with writing songs? And you know, it's all kinds of different ways. Sometimes it starts with an interesting couplet or a theme or a little bit of lyrics, but this song specifically started with that guitar riff and the melody, which we just I call it like scatting. Like I'll find like words that I like, or that kind of you know, sound a certain way. If we're talking about vowels or mouth shape. It's quotes, right? Like you'll hear demos where it sounds like that, me going potpourri, like a lyric or a word or a rhyme, and then I'll try to fit the syllables into. So okay, before I go on, I need to give total credit to Dustin for that chorus. I think if you listen to the episode, I'm kind of singing the chorus melody, at least the da 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 da, in the verses, and then Dustin's like, "Well, what if we move that to the chorus?"
Oh yeah.
And you know, I kind of built a demo of the song. We had a progression, and he wrote all of the melody and all of the words to the chorus. So, which
that's awesome.
I think is the best part of the song.
I adore it. Yeah. I mean, I adore the entire song, but yeah. I mean, a good theme song is like, can you play the 20-second chorus of it? And I love when a theme song, which doesn't really happen anymore, it's a very 90s thing, like kind of starts with a verse and takes you like on that roller coaster, like step by step into the chorus. So I think that's what made me nervous, honestly, was knowing that we had to have a solid chorus. Yeah.
So we demoed out. I knew what I wanted the drums to sound like. I had the progression. The chorus it's 3 notes. That's it. I mean, it's a walk down and then you play it up, and a walk down and then you play it low. And so we're like, okay, and this is a thing that Dustin and I do a lot. Here's a demo. Here's the arrangement, the music of it. So drums and guitar. And I'm like, okay, we'll talk next week, or we'll talk in a couple days. You write this part and I'll write this part. And he wrote that chorus and was like, like when I heard it, I was like, this is it. This is the song.
It's so awesome. Like,
yeah.
And it like one of my notes was that like maybe you guys can, like, I don't know, throw in a reference to potpourri, since, you know, even though we don't really do much potpourri on the podcast because we always run long. Yeah. But that's like a big part of it. Like that's and it's what's interesting is that I don't remember if you coined potpourri, but you definitely coined like whatever we want as long as it smells good.
Whatever you want as long as it smells good. Like, I'm an ideas man, Michael.
Yeah. So it's just awesome, kind of like, I don't know. It's cool that Yeah.
That's a cool like first appearance of potpourri. Somebody find that out.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So Dustin came at me with that chorus, and like we had it. I was like, oh, this is so good. And so I kind of independently was working on the verses, and like we kind of had the same melody. He like I was still working on the da 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 da. That's, I really wanted it to be snappy. As I was writing the verses, da 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 da. And so the verses it's almost the same chord progression on the guitar as the chorus. It's just it has 4 notes where the chorus has 3 notes, and so you can kind of sing the same thing over it.
Nice.
So Dustin he was like, we can't sing the same thing. We got to kind of do variations. And so then we scat again. So if it's the dun dun da 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 dun, I go, okay, how about da 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 da, like I really wanted it to bounce, if that makes any sense. I'm trying not to get too inside baseball when it comes to like songwriting, but you know what I mean when I want a song to bounce, right? Okay. And then we were like, okay, this sounds good. I think the rest of the song should just be movie quotes, references to movies. I also think Dustin originally, when he was kind of talking to you on the side, he said, what if it was a theme song about theme songs?
He mentioned that. Yeah. And I couldn't really wrap my head around that.
Neither could we.
Yeah.
I think it was a cool idea.
Yeah. I love the meta kind of thought of it.
Right. Right. Well, and more than anything, and I think we both kind of settled on this, is like it's a TV show theme where we more than anything talk about movies.
Exactly.
So how could we merge the two? And I was like, okay, Matt's favorite movies. This is easy. And we were in the thick of talking about Scream. And I think maybe we had like just recently done the commentary for Scream.
Yep.
So the first lyric I had was, we all go a little mad sometimes.
So awesome.
We all go a little mad sometimes. And then I like kind of repeating the last word of a line to begin the next line. So we all go a little mad sometimes, and sometimes we're
nice.
And I'm like, okay, that's good. So just started coming up with the lyrics. I mean, we had your list over here. We had IMDb. We're looking through like, okay, what's a good Akira Kurosawa quote here? Like, what's the most important Seven Samurai quote? Some that we didn't get, like we really wanted to get in there, but we just couldn't make it work.
That's fine. Yeah, there are no Kurosawa references. That's
there
fine.
Are not. And I'm sorry. I know Seven Samurai is your favorite movie.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. we tried our best. I really like that we all go a little mad sometimes, because that's not, I mean, not only is Psycho.
Yep.
We talk about one of our favorite horror movies of all time, but to reference it in Scream and kind of begin the song as a commentary on songs, it just felt right. I hope people get that.
Oh, it's perfect. It's so perfect. And even on a personal level, like the fact that like Scream is like the movie that made me love movies and everything. And then Psycho is incredible as well, obviously. Which by the way, Psycho is going to be playing in Keystone Art Theater here in Indy on May 3rd, which I'm going to try to go to, which is awesome also because that theater is like right next door to me now. So,
nice. That's awesome. Cool. That's cool.
But anyway,
So I do think we've played this song for a couple people, and we're kind of in a rock phase. A lot of our music is we did like an acoustic phase and then a piano phase, and we're kind of in a punk rock. We released that Thank You Jade album, and we're kind of still doing the punk rock thing. And our last single is very pop punk. Several Bad Examples, which was another Song Shop song. Nice. And I really like how that came out. But this one sounds a little different. We've heard from people that it's like, it sounds, it's poppy, right? I mean, it sounds like
it's bouncy.
It's bouncy. Yeah. It's bouncy. And then we come to the bridge, and Dustin and I wrote the bridge together, nice. like on a Google Meet like this, or we were on FaceTime.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, just kind of riffing back and forth. And one of the things I love that we do is like one of us will come up with a loose melody for it and send it and just say like, hey, I'm going to sing this part. This is what I want the melody to be, but you're going to record the vocal.
Oh, interesting.
So I think I could be wrong, but if you listen to the demo of the song, I am singing the bridge.
Oh yeah,
because that's my
interesting.
first take. That's like my idea for the bridge. And I was like, okay, Dustin. And so what he does so wonderfully is take my decent idea and make it great.
Nice.
And so he recorded vocals.
Nice. I get like chills when like his voice comes in with the Glengarry Glen Ross line. And then just like it's such a good song, man. I love it so much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it, man. I also really like on the production end little pieces of ear candy that I think like you don't maybe notice it when it's there, but if it was gone, you kind of would notice it. One of the things I do, by the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this. If you're not familiar with my band, you just heard the shortened theme version of this song. We recorded 2 versions, which is half a verse and then the chorus and then the end of the song. But out tomorrow is the full 3.5 minute version of the song.
Yes.
We recorded a full version of the song.
Oh, yes.
And so playing out the end of the song, the last chorus, I play the little lead guitar I play in the bridge. Like I bring that back as a motif, which I also put in the theme song version of it.
Nice.
So little guitar flourishes. There's little bits where like the harmony is, you know, my vocal is the main vocal. And Dustin will harmonize, but there's little bits where I'm also harmonizing. So it's like three parts.
Nice.
There's a lot of stuff in that. I'm super proud of how it came out.
Yeah, I am too. Like I'm so happy with it. It's so great, man. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions about it? Like anything you were curious about, the process or a lyric or?
Not really, because like I've texted with you about the lyrics and everything and how much I love all the references and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny. I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and she like mentioned that she thought one of Dustin's lines, one of his lyrics, like she thought that she was like, don't they say the F word in it? And I was like, no,
That's
they don't.
weird.
Yeah, it's the part where, let me see if I can just quickly bring it up. I'm not going to be able to, but it was closers only, but I've made my mistakes and paid for them and then some. But she thought the lyric was "fuck all my mistakes."
Wow.
Because I paid for them and then some. And I was like, no.
Yeah,
It's not that kind of song.
No, not. It would be weird to have in a theme song. That has happened to us a couple times. We like the first time we recorded ever, we did a song about my cousin, like who at the time was 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
And it was just about her like dancing around. It's a really terrible song, dancing around my living room. Aww. And so we're recording this song in the studio with a guy who is like a youth group leader, like a pastor's son, very buttoned up kind of guy. And we did a pass through of the song, and he was like really pensive, and he's like rubbing his chin. He's like, You think we can come up with something else for that one lyric? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, that one where you say the B word. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, well, you said bitch in that line. And I don't know that we can. I don't know that I want to record that. And I was like, first of all, get over yourself. Second of all, my cousin is 3, so I think you misheard the lyric. It's just a weird, I don't know. I never recorded with that guy again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we didn't like him very much.
Wow. What was the actual lyric?
I don't remember. It's bad. I mean, it's like, she's Maureen. She's dancing all around. She's Maureen. She's falling on the ground. I mean, it was
this
like.
Bitch is falling on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was bad. It was like a joke song, and we wrote it like while she was dancing around. We were like writing and singing and being silly. And we're like, well, we have a little extra time to record a song in the studio. Like we finished the single we were doing, and then we're like, oh, let's record Maureen, which we shouldn't have. It was a bad song.
Oh, yeah. Song. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I adore the theme song. It's so great. And I can't wait for everyone to hear it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you like it. If you listen to the theme song, if you like it, please give us a follow. As good as it gets. The song is called "A Little Mad Sometimes." Yes. Theme from Obsessive Viewer Podcast. We're on Spotify. As good as it gets music.com. I mean, we're pretty easy to find. We're pretty ubiquitous. So give us a follow. Our stuff sounds a lot like that.
Hell yeah. And thank you again for
man, of course. Awesome. Hey, you paid for it. No thanks necessary.
Oh man. Well worth the money. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. That makes me feel good.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. So what is next for As Good as It Gets, and what do you guys have going on? I was so excited about talking about the theme song that I didn't even give you like the entry point of like, oh, talk about your band, talk about everything.
Oh no, that's okay. I think if, no, that's fine. That's fine. We have a lot going on, really. Nice. We've kind of got a whole year planned out. Awesome. We are working on an album. We're also working on, like the Song Shop songs. We have, like I said earlier, A Little Mad Sometimes comes out tomorrow. And then we're kind of trying to release something every 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, we're going to have kind of an acoustic reinterpretation of one of our old songs called Goodbye. It was an old, like very pop punk, poppy rock song that we wrote back in high school. And I kind of updated it. It's like acoustic folk, Tom Petty kind of thing. I really like it. I think people are going to like it a lot. It doesn't sound anything like A Little Mad Sometimes. But that'll come out in about 6 weeks, June something. Nice. And then after that, we'll have our third Song Shop single. Nice. And I can't say a whole lot about it yet, except that it's called Are We the Stars? Okay. We kind of have a movie theme happening here on accident. Nice. Yeah. So that'll be kind of late July.
Are We the Stars? Is that a reference? Or is it just like stars as in like movie stars?
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Okay,
you'll see.
Gotcha.
You'll see. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
And then we'll put out another kind of acoustic reinterpretation. And then in October-ish, we'll probably start talking about the album.
Nice.
Which we're hoping will be out by the end of the year.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm ecstatic.
Thanks, man. That's awesome. You're a good friend and a good fan, and I love you for it.
Well, I love everything you do, man.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Well, this is a movie and TV podcast.
Yeah, let's talk about movies.
Yeah, hell yeah. So, today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once, the new A24 movie that is currently in theaters. But first, I want to talk just briefly about the upcoming summer movies, the summer movie season, and kind of get your thoughts, Mike, on Mike. What is your anticipation? Like, how excited are you? I mean, we've got Multiverse of Madness, we've got Thor Love and Thunder. Outside of the MCU, we've got Nope, which I'm super excited about. And anything else kind of piquing your interest for the summer movies?
Not anything bigger than that. Nice. I think you kind of brought up the three big ones, and it still kind of feels a little, not post-COVID, but like it feels a little pre-post-COVID. Sure. I guess in a way. And I'm also, I'm super excited for all three of those. And we can talk about each one in their own right. But really, since Endgame, I guess I'm just looking for, like, one of the things I've loved about the MCU for so long is like the big tentpole Avengers roadmap.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm making like a big deal out of something that's not really a big deal. I just wonder where the roadmap is going. It feels a little like not rudderless, because that's not doing a service to some of the content that's really been pretty good. But like, what's the end game here?
Yeah, like I don't see. I understand what you mean, because we are outside of the Infinity Saga now, and that had like clear phases. Obviously, like it was all leading toward Avengers, all leading toward a few leading toward Age of Ultron, leading to Infinity War, leading to Endgame, or like bridging to Endgame, basically. And like here, it's like, and I admire what they're doing, because they have just busted everything wide open with No Way Home, Loki, and now Multiverse of Madness. Like, I don't know what they're going to go for, but I know that you don't like multiverse plots or anything.
I was just going to say, it stresses me out a little bit that it's just opened up that way.
And I totally get that, but the casting that they have for presumably the big bad, as introduced in Loki, has me extraordinarily excited. And as long as they don't use the multiverse concept to do the comic book thing of not having any stakes, being like, oh, well, they can just like, okay, well, they're going to bring back a character because it's a multiverse thing. As long as they don't do that and there's no like crutch to that, I think that there are just a ton of possibilities with this. I know,
but I feel like that seems, if I could quote Thanos, inevitable. And maybe not in a grand way. Like I'm not like I have, gosh, I feel like I'm calling out my students. I have students who like, they're like, oh, Captain America will be back. And I really don't want him. I don't believe Chris Evans will be back. I mean, I think there's more going on than just movies, but but I don't think he will. And I also don't want him to. I think there should be finality, but but I do think, if it's not beyond them that like Thor dies, but then comes back, I don't know. It's a slippery slope for me, multiverse stuff. Yeah,
I totally, I do get that. And I mean, technically we've already got that with Loki.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember like one of your big points of contention with Loki is that it's not
That's
our
not Loki.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
It's just an alternate version, which, I mean, I respectfully disagree, but I also understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
It's shaky ground that they're going into, but I think that if they do it right, I think it could be, I keep thinking like how, like if they go full bore into the multiverse stuff, which it feels like they might be edging toward with like, I mean, just the title alone, Multiverse of Madness. And also Ant-Man Quantumania or whatever. Like if they go just completely into that, I think that they could eventually lead to something that in terms of scale, not emotion, but in terms of scale could be as big, if not bigger than Endgame in terms of scale, not emotion. Because emotions for Endgame, I can't. Like we've said,
but I think my point is I prefer the emotion of it, and it's almost like relying on multiverse stuff is MCU having its cake and eating it too, like saying we, it's like everything matters or nothing matters. It's like. I like to believe that even in our mundane nothingness, the experience of being alive is important. So like singular stories of being alive is important. But if you're trying to say that, I'm one of infinite one versions of me, then I don't believe that each one's story is as valid. I just don't. I don't think you can have both of those thoughts, and that is super nitpicky, and I'm really choosing, like an obsessive compulsive person, to not be invested in a thing that's just entertaining. But I can't. It's like it's a tick that, watching Loki. I'm like, well, that's. I was like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not my Loki.
Right.
It's not my Loki, and I just could not.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb. And I know that I'm being like a stick in the mud, but I just like, well, this doesn't matter as much because it's not Loki.
Well, I don't think that it's as nitpicky as you think it is because I think that moment with Loki at the beginning of Infinity War, like that is the conclusion of his arc throughout the entire MCU to that point.
Yeah.
And it's an arc that is not only a fan favorite arc, but like a very emotionally wrought arc throughout multiple movies. And to have that, I guess, and to play devil's advocate, I don't have the same issues with it that you do. I don't have any issues with it, but it does feel like Loki, the show, is having its cake and eating it too by having that emotional kind of thing with that Loki's
giving him a separate emotional arc.
Yeah. While
absolutely.
also still showing him what happens to him. And then like that kind of seems a little bit whatever. But also on the other hand, like you also get it's kind of surprising and a little impressive that they are already just diving into this multiverse stuff with No Way Home being about, it's just wild that we got that. Like it's wild that happened. And you get that emotion. Can you
imagine like explaining multiversal theory to people in the 1900s?
Oh yeah.
In the night, like when we were young nerds and just like this, just stop talking to me.
Yeah.
But then if you had said, no, actually they're going to be the highest grossing movies every year.
It's insane. It's
unimaginable.
Oh yeah. There's a really fun, kind of daily Wordle-esque game. That's not really Wordle-esque, but it's just like a daily game called Box Office Game. It's like Box Office ga.me, based on a podcast that the Blank Check podcast does, a game that they do, but it's really fun. It just takes a random date, and you have to guess the top 5 grossing movies of that weekend, and you get like you have to unveil like certain hints to get it, but like a lot of times it's like, okay, well, December 2021, well, okay, Spider-Man No Way Home. And like you get 200 points for guessing it blindly. But it's a lot of fun. I recommend checking out that game each day. But anyway, it's just insane just how that level of blockbuster filmmaking and big scale filmmaking like that, like, because like I go back and watch every now and then, I'll watch like Jaws, or I know people love Star Wars, and like those are kind of like the prototypical blockbuster movies. Yeah. They start that summer season, and just to think how far it's come now, and having like these huge, vast, interconnected, dozens of movies interconnected, is just insane to me.
Yeah, it's unconscionable.
Yeah.
If I could walk it back a little bit, I think Thor: Love and Thunder looks fun. It's kind of what I want, kind of a more fun, goofy, Taika Waititi. It's just so perfect in everything he does. Yeah. But I'm really excited for Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, for a lot of reasons. I think the special effects in the first Doctor Strange are kind of some of the best in the MCU. So I'm excited to see the evolution of that. I'm excited to see, what happens with his character. I'm excited to see Sam Raimi's take on the MCU. But more than anything, I loved WandaVision so much.
Nice. Yep.
That I'm excited to see the continuation of Wanda's story more than anything.
Yeah, I really like the idea of the MCU kind of in this iteration post Infinity Saga being this duo kind of thing, like having like Spider-Man team up with Doctor
Yeah.
Strange, having Doctor Strange team up with Wanda and or Scarlet Witch, and having like each movie being like a pairing of big characters and everything. I kind of like that as this universe building, because it doesn't need to be like a quick cameo. It can be a featured supporting role.
Right. Yep.
yeah.
Which really has been the case since Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know, Captain America, Winter
Oh,
Soldier.
yeah. Really good stuff. And to transition out of MCU talk, how about Nope? Just real quick, what do you think of Nope? Are you excited for it?
Yeah, very excited. I mean, Jordan Peele is a genius. He's doing some of the best stuff out there. That summer, I'll kind of take them as they go. It'll be interesting. You know, some of the biggest things I was looking forward to this year were Scream, and that already came out. And then kind of on the other end of the year is the end of the new Halloween trilogy. And I'm probably most excited for that.
Oh, yeah.
Even more so than Thor and Doctor Strange. Nice.
I'm very excited for Doctor Strange, and I mean everything else we've talked about. I'm super excited. I was going to say this in potpourri, but we're obviously not going to have time for potpourri. But like we'll have to have a separate conversation, because like Ambulance, I loved that movie.
Oh, you did?
I had a blast with that movie.
Yeah, I did not.
I saw your rating, 2 stars. That's pretty,
generous. I agree.
No.
No, I don't know. I don't think I felt enough to kind of really take a strong stance about it. But it did not. That's just not my kind of movie.
I will say this. It is very nice to see that someone apparently got Michael Bay a drone for Christmas.
My goodness. Yeah. I think it's interesting. I don't know, not to criticize you. I'm glad you loved it, but we're really doing some retconning about the way we feel about Michael Bay culturally.
I wouldn't say
film Twitter is letting him off the hook. And I'm guys, this is the Michael Bayest movie ever.
No,
that's not true. Transformers 4 is.
I was going to call you out on
that's not true. But I don't know. It didn't work for me.
That's fair. I actually have an essay that's going to be posting on Midwest Film Journal about his 2005 bomb of The Island. Did you ever see that with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson?
No, I never did.
Yeah, I watched it for the first time for this essay because like I was like, I've never seen it. I want to check it out, and it's really interesting. I don't know. I read my essay, you'll see. But like I kind of I don't necessarily forgive him for his stuff. I just established that he is a brand unto himself, and if you do not latch onto that brand, or if you can't. Like that's fine. Like he's not, and I'm very careful to say that like The Island is by no stretch an underrated masterpiece at all. Like it's a bad movie, but I found it fascinating because it is clearly like, to me, it's like he was attempting or gave the thought that, I'm going to try a kind of thought-provoking science fiction dystopian movie, and then literally like halfway through he's like, wait, no, I'm Michael Bay. It's going to be a big chase movie.
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that is like right after that, he made Transformers. And I'm like, maybe like my kind of position that I take is like, did he want to branch out into more like thought-provoking science fiction and then realize that that's just, he just can't. And he's just winning. He's like, oh, okay, Hasbro, give me Transformers, and then make 5 Transformers movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. But I thought Ambulance was fun. I thought it was cool. Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I love that journey for you.
But let's get into our review of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Let's talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once. Can I share kind of a fun maybe not that fun. Will you be patient while I share an anecdote?
Sure.
So there is a song by a band called You, Me, and Everything We Know.
Okay.
And I'm blanking on the name of the song, but the bridge goes, too much everything everywhere all the time, too much everything everywhere, and then like a bunch of voices come in and it's like him 10 times repeating that, too much everything.
Wow.
And I thought that was I thought that would have been the coolest name for an album. And so you're hearing it from me here officially. Our next album is not going to be called Too Much Everything Everywhere All the Time.
Nice.
And because I brought it up when Dustin and I were trying to name the next one, and he said, well, that movie just came out, so we can't. And I'm like,
yeah,
you're right. It would just be too evocative of the movie, and I'm not trying to do that.
That's a shame. Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on something that I didn't really pick up on until I listened to a friend of mine's podcast talking about it, but I'll save that for the actual discussion. But
okay,
I'm going to go ahead and just read the plot summary, courtesy of IMDb.
Sure.
This is the plot summary for Everything Everywhere All at Once. We'll do a non-spoiler. I don't know how long we'll do non-spoiler, but we'll prep you for a spoiler section. So the plot summary is: an aging Chinese immigrant is swept up in an insane adventure where she alone can save the world by exploring other universes, connecting with the lives she could have led. This movie stars Michelle Yeoh, Stephanie Hsu, Kei Hui Kwan, and James Hong, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Directed by the Daniels. It's an A24 movie, and it is currently in theaters. Mike, what were your kind of overall broad thoughts on Everything Everywhere All at Once?
One of my favorite experiences coming out of a movie, especially like early in the year, is to kind of like I keep a running tally of where this movie ranks on my end of the year. And I love when I have a movie that challenges for first place.
Nice.
Right. And so, so Scream 5, Scream 2022, whatever you want to call it, is my current number one, 5 Cream. And I walked out in the theater and I was like, gosh, it's like I have a choice to make. Which one is my number one? I loved it. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I loved it.
Nice.
Shout out to my good friend, my old friend, Danny, who texted me. He's like, hey, have you seen it yet? And I'm like, no, but I'm about to see it on Thursday. And he goes, I'm jealous. I wish I could forget it so I could see it again for the first time.
That is such a specific feeling, and I adore it. I adore it so much. Yeah. Yep.
And that's how, I mean, I'll use his words to kind of explain how I feel about it. It's that type of thing where I do imagine subsequent viewings kind of won't be as joyous and awe-inspiring as the first one did. And I think I hate to kind of use this really common criticism of mine. I think there's 20 minutes that could be cut from the movie and the movie would still be just as effective. But aside from those very small critiques, oh man, so much about it works. It's so wholly original and such a unique vision. The Daniels directed Swiss Army Man, which I liked a lot, but it's not a movie that I find myself thinking about often.
I don't either.
So I think kind of ultimately I didn't love it maybe like as much as I thought the first time I saw it. This one I think is a vast improvement over that, because I think it has, what does it have? There's something about Swiss Army Man where like there was the initial conceit that he's dead and like they use his farts to propel himself. And I think it only took that movie so far. And this movie has a concept, and when almost kind of built into the premise, like when a certain aspect of the premise kind of wears out its welcome, she like gains a new ability, or there's a new take, or a new character takes center stage. Like I love how Michelle Yeoh is the main character, and there's different versions of herself and different abilities she has. But the arc of her husband, Waymond, played by Ke Huy Quan, to see him be, and we'll kind of save a lot of it for the spoiler section. Yeah. The different characters he gets to play, or versions of that character he gets to play, kind of refreshes the plot. Like where you think, okay, I kind of know where this movie's going. He has a different personality that offers to a movie. And so it's kind of bookended by two versions of him.
Yeah. But under the surface, like across the board, like every version of him has this like this understated kindness within him. Yeah. Yes. I thought his performance was astounding. Just really good. Yeah.
Well, I don't usually subscribe very often to like casting intentions, you know, like this person was supposed to be, or this is who they had in mind. But I think the significant one here is that the film was written for Jackie Chan.
Oh, was it really?
In the main character role.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's Michelle Yeoh was cast, or they had a different woman in mind as the female character, as almost what I'm trying to argue is that I think Waymond is the film's thesis.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so Jackie Chan was the main character who gains the powers, and it was the wife who offers the resolution.
Oh, interesting.
And I think that and I don't remember exactly what it is, and I'm not doing my research here, and I apologize for that. But for whatever reason, he couldn't do the movie, or they liked Michelle Yeoh so much that they made her the main character. And switch the gender roles. So I think there's something interesting to think about, that the emotional core of the movie is kind of like traditionally stereotypically feminine perspective, right? If I'm going to say like the thesis at the end is like kindness is a strength, that's kind of, it's a typically feminine gesture, I think. Culturally speaking. And then they switched that. And that it's the husband who offers that perspective at the end.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. That's really interesting. So did they, like, is that confirmed that it was like written for Jackie Chan? Like
it is confirmed. The Daniels, really? that is not speculation. It was written for Jackie Chan. That's
so interesting. And I think that's a credit to Michelle Yeoh too, because she's like, I've been a fan of hers for a while. I mean, I haven't seen her in much. Like I know her big claim to fame is in
Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, at least here in the U.S. is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But I mean, this is. I know her best from Sunshine. Right. Corazon. And I've just been a fan of hers for a while. Anytime she pops up in anything, but like, it's so wild to me to hear that, because her performance, like she commands this role. Like she is so in charge, and it's electric. It's amazing. So that's really impressive to think that it's, that it was originally.
And I want to be clear that, I want to give credit to all the performers and all the characters and the way they're written. And as much as I loved Waymond as a character, one of my favorite things with movies is like to pick out a side character who really like is my favorite part. And it's like, they were great, but Stu is the best part of Scream, right? Like I think we talked about that when we did Scream. But to be perfectly clear, Michelle Yeoh as Evelyn is the best part of this movie. Oh yeah, she's the main character, and she's by far the best part of this movie. She's so I think you said electric, and that's perfect. The evolution,
nice.
That's awful. Don't encourage me.
I love it.
Thanks. But to see her just kind of go from this like miserable, unassuming, working till death kind of person to like enjoying the powers that she gets, to then coming to certain conclusions about those powers.
Yeah.
She just knows
So
what
good.
she's doing, and it's so awesome. It's so awesome.
Oh yeah. And something that really I had a whole thought I was going to bring into this, but another thought is like pushing it out of my mind. Hang on. The thing that I really loved about this, in terms of storytelling, I think that the script and the storytelling is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It's something that I was so engaged by it, because what it does as a whole is that, like, the first act of the movie is like we're introduced to Evelyn and her family and her troubles with the IRS, and like all of this like interfamily stuff with her father and with her daughter and her daughter's girlfriend and everything and her husband. Like, all of this is just an incredibly rich like family drama.
Totally.
And then we get the multiverse stuff, and then it just expands. Like there's such a rubber band effect to this movie, where we start small with this grounded family drama. It just stretches to like literally all of existence, basically. And then by the third act, by the end or the resolution of the movie, it is like the elasticity of the whole narrative has gone back to that family drama stuff. Oh. And I was so enthralled by that. I was just so taken with how the story unfolded. It was just so beautifully done.
That's a great critique. That's really good. The rubber band metaphor. And I think it kind of lends credence to my issue with like the Marvel multiverse. If I'm assuming that they start bringing in multiple versions of characters, implying that we need to continue to care about them, because to your point, it established this very grounded, miserable life of this main character, Evelyn. It stretched it to the ends of the universe, and then brought it back to her. She's inarguably the main character and the emotional center. Well, I mean, I guess Waymond, in a way, I've said is kind of the emotional catalyst of the movie, but she's the events happen to her, this one version of Evelyn, and that's an example of what I mean when I say I care about the singular stories of individuals. And that's another thesis of this movie. It's like, if the main villain's argument about like the futility of multiverse and just perpetual existence going on and on forever is that nothing matters, Evelyn kind of argues that the smallness, the minuteness of being alive matters, that family matters. It's a recognition in this day and age. Read any good news.
Step by step, there, like, her full house is just.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the movie, she and her daughter are like perfect strangers.
Yeah. And by the end, they're bosom buddies. I don't know. Is that? Yeah.
I don't think that was. No.
I don't think that's a stretch.
So theme songs.
Yeah.
No, but I think that this kind of supports my thesis that it's the smaller stories. It's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It's the one woman's dealings with the IRS that matter more than the spectacle of multiverse. Like, it should add flavor and texture. And, you know, this movie has dark comedy. It has, ethical quandaries. It has a philosophical slant to it. But it also has, like, kung fu fight scenes, which just add texture and color to this idea that our small lives matter. If that makes any sense.
Said. Oh, absolutely. And we'll talk in spoilers about the kind of the mechanics of it and everything, because I want to ask like what your position is on like how like the multiverse is like depicted in the movie, but we'll save that for spoilers.
Sure.
What I want to say because I feel like we might be kind of going towards spoilers now. But before we do that, I'm going to share an anecdote that isn't relevant to the movie per se, but it's a theater experience I had trying to see the movie. I've already told you about it. I've told Patreon about it. But for everyone that's not on Patreon and isn't you, or that I haven't told, I had maybe the most aggravating movie theater experience
with this movie.
Did I tell you about this? I'm sure I did. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, here's the thing. Not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, I had a ticket. I went to go see it. I got there a couple minutes late, just as the Nope trailer was starting. So I was like, okay, I'm good. Trailers are going. Sit down in my seat. And so as the trailer for Nope is playing out, the guy sitting in the seat next to the seat next to me. So there was an empty seat between us that he had a bunch of concessions on and everything, which is fine. But we were the only ones, and it was like a short row. He, to no one, said when the title card for Nope came up, he said in a booming voice, and I'm probably going to spike the sound and everything, or distort it a little bit or clip it, but he just said Nope very loudly to no one, perhaps performative, I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I'm going to just go ahead and read out like what, because I like
you're dictating, you're like typing what he said as he's saying it.
Oh no, it was afterwards, because I kept thinking, I was like, I'm going to I wasn't going to physically assault this man. I wasn't going to Will Smith him. He wasn't going to be the Chris Rock to my Will Smith. Mm-hmm. But I sent oh God, it's so aggravating. I'll just read. Well, I won't read it. But anyway, so the Nope trailer, he said, oh, that's what he said. He said when the Nope title card came up, he said, Nope. Yep. Like, okay, cool, fine, whatever. You're annoying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Boy.
And then
obnoxious.
Yeah. Oh, it gets worse. And right after that, the trailer for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. In that trailer, the therapist says to Nick Cage, "What's the worry here, Nick? That you've lost some of your talent?" And this guy yells, "No!" And I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, and why didn't you say nope?
Yeah, right.
Missed opportunity, right? Man.
Yeah. And then after that, we get the Red Band trailer disclaimer for the next trailer, and he just yells, "Ooh!" And then the trailer was for Men, which I'm super excited about.
Which looks awesome, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Alex Garland, man. Oh, love him.
He's the best.
Oh, yeah. So when the guy in the trailer says to Jesse Buckley, he says something to the effect of like, "Oh, you shouldn't have eaten the apple from the tree because that's for the forbidden fruit." And then there's a pause, and he's like, "I'm just kidding." But this guy says very loudly, like everyone in, like, I swear, if you were walking into the theater and had just crossed the threshold to that auditorium, you could have heard him as if he was sitting right next to you. That's how loud he was. He just said, "Are you forbidden?" Like, what? Like, no, what?
Ew,
like,
who is this?
Yeah. And then when the title card came up for Men, he just yelled, "Men." And I'm just like I was sitting there thinking, like, if he does this throughout the movie, I'm going to scream. Like, I am going to lose my shit.
Yeah.
And like, I had already had like a migraine the whole day. I was like annoyed already because of that.
You were not up for it. You were not up for shenanigans.
I was not. So then finally, like, the Nicole Kidman pre-roll that comes up for AMC theaters, she says in it, as she's walking up the steps, she says, "Because we need that. We need this, like, we need a place like this," or whatever. And then he screams like maybe like a couple like octaves or decibels or whatever louder than everything else that he said. He says, "I need you." And I was just like,
what the hell?
Yeah. And like at that moment, I was like, nope, I'm out. And I just got up and left. And I was like, I got up, left the theater, went and got donuts as a consolation, and then went home because I was just like, I was so agitated. And I was like, I'm already not 100% feeling well because I've had a migraine all day. I'm tired. I feel a little bit under the gun to watch this movie because I had originally had plans to record with Ben about it. And then I was just like, I can't, like, if he does, I'm not going to be able to focus on the movie. I might get arrested for murdering this man in the theater. And like, I just can't do it. So I'm like, I'm sacrificing an A-list ticket and I'm leaving the theater.
Man.
Yeah, it was bad.
Will we be the last podcast to talk about the Nicole Kidman bumper? I can't stand it. I'm so tired of it. I can't believe there's an ad for AMC while we're sitting in AMC. I'm like, we're here.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, we made it.
Yeah.
We're the last people who need to see this advertisement.
What I hate about it is two things. Two things I hate about it. One is that it's after the trailers. Like, do it before like whatever. Right. I get it. Like, oh, they're trying to celebrate this. The other thing that I've seen like people talk about online is like, I don't think she's ever been in like a public movie theater like that. Like she's Nicole Kidman. But
I also think that her the way she pronounced like the last she goes, they are, like she hits that R.
Here, they are,
like because she's Australian and she it should sound like they are.
Oh yeah,
and I guarantee they asked her to retake that.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Because
yeah,
they are.
But what
they really are.
The other thing, the other thing that I kind of hate about that is that, like, I would be like, I don't mind. It's fine. Whatever. It gives me an extra minute and a half when I'm running late to be like pee. Fine. Yeah. But like a couple things I love and kind of think is a missed opportunity. One, I kind of wish that they would have, like, if they were going to do it, why not make like the same way that they do certain like things like, oh, check the exits or whatever, beforehand. Like, why not make the movies that she's watching reflect the genre of the movie we're seeing? Like, that would be kind of neat to kind of switch it up. And on that same note, something I love on YouTube is when people have taken the videos and inserted different movies. It tickles me so much. Like, one that I haven't been able to find, but I'll try to find some and send it to you. But one is just like every time it cuts to the screen, it's another clip from like the end of The Departed where everyone's getting fucking just shot in the head. It's like, it's just amazing. It's like, our heroes look bigger here, and then boom, headshot. It's so funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. But
all right, let's spoil this.
Yes,
let's spoil this sucker.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to go into spoilers for Everything Everywhere All at Once. We're going to hit the trailer. When we come back, spoilers on. So be warned, here we go, the trailer for the movie.
Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang, are you with us?
I am paying attention.
Now, you may only see a pile of receipts, but I see a story. I can see where this story is going. It does not look good.
Okay, so we are spoilers on for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Mike, how did you feel about the depiction of the multiverse and the mechanics of it? Like how she jumps from verse to verse, and like, did you, because I think that you and I, when it comes to like science fiction and kind of high concept science fiction like that, I would wager to say, and this isn't a criticism or anything, I would say that is an area of film where we are maybe not the most in sync as we are with other genres and other kind of things. Because like I kind of I feel like I am more of a like, yeah, okay, I'm sure that makes sense, so I'll just go with the flow. While you're more of a like okay, well wait, not that either one is right or wrong, but like I kind of feel like you need a little bit more to buy into it. So how did you feel about it here?
That's interesting. I think you're really spot on. I guess you could say I'm more particular about it, right? Or maybe not that a thing needs to be explicit, but like it can't just be MacGuffin-y.
Yeah. You don't. I would like. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying so that it doesn't sound like
just say it, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't want it to come across the wrong way, but I'm just more go with the flow kind of thing. Like I'm of the thought that if I can trick myself into buying into a central concept that is at best just shaky, like fine, I'll go along with the ride. If it can follow, if I can accept the internal mechanics of it, fine. But
nobody has ever described me as go with the flow.
Oh, yeah.
Ever about anything. I don't know. Michael, just go with the flow. No, I won't. This needs to be explicit, please.
But also that like you tend to hold movies and TV with like these high concepts more accountable for their stuff, because it is
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's a big thing to buy into. And I mean, yeah. So how did you feel? Like, did you have any issues with this? Or?
Well, I guess I think of if you're dealing with things like this, for example, theoretical physics.
Yes.
I don't know that you're like, I guess my perspective is that you can't really play it fast and loose. If you're kind of making bold claims about the universe and existence, I think you need to have at least a sharpness for it. Otherwise, you're kind of treating it with a flippancy that I don't have. Like, I'm not coming from it with a, yeah, whatever, that's fine kind of thing. That said, this movie, it's not explicit with its universe traveling. But it's theoretical physics anyway. And so you really can kind of pick your own. And as long as you kind of stick with that mechanic, I will kind of allow what you're trying to argue. I will say, I don't know, I'm doing a little bit of word salad here, but I didn't leave the theater like questioning the mechanics of the movie. I bought in enough, and maybe personally, that speaks to how well the central characters work.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I kind of and I was all for it. One of the things I found really interesting is that this movie doesn't wisely avoids the trappings of other like high concept science fiction, time travel, multiverse stuff, by not getting too in its head or in the audience's head about it. It kind of feels like when I kind of realized that, like, oh, the reason why she had to switch her feet to switch her shoes to the wrong feet, or the reason why he had to do like the paper cuts and everything, is that like you need to do a specific series of things that are so off the wall and crazy to get to like it, to open the door to a universe that would lead you to an out there concept.
You mean, is this your thought process while you're watching it?
Yeah.
Or what you take from it now?
While I'm watching it, I was kind of like just really impressed by it. Like the scene where he's trying to do the paper cuts, and then when they tell her like, oh, you need to convince her that you love her, and then that's what will open you up to martial arts or whatever. Which
is okay. Well, so I think the mechanic there is that they have to make a choice that they wouldn't normally make.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why they're doing something unique, is create a new branch of the timeline to connect to something. Yeah, okay, we're on the same page.
Yep.
But the main one to learn kung fu is to lead with kindness and forgiveness is kind of a nod to the end of the film, I think. I think that's a purposeful, like, in order to fight, she has to begin with loving somebody who is like unlovable. I love that. And
wow.
Yeah.
I just got hung up on the hot dog finger thing part of it, but yeah.
I mean, I think the hot dog thing is disgusting, but that
it's also
love is really sweet. I really love that. I don't know that we've ever seen a movie or will ever see a movie that really visualizes what infinity looks like. I mean, that's obviously, I'm not an idiot. That is obviously impossible to do. But you get a movie, it's 2 hours, you can do a solid 6 versions of a character or whatever. You kind of want to get, like, when you see Spider-Man No Way Home, and it's like, there are infinite possibilities. And these 3 characters we're familiar with are the ones that came through.
Right.
I mean, that is, it's impossible, frankly.
Sure.
I'm trying not to think. I'm playing my part here, and I'm trying not to.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah.
This movie gets the closest I've ever seen. I think that the reason I am forgiving of some of the vagaries is that it's like it's having fun with those vagaries. Yeah. Right. It's being silly that like to put everything. Are we talking about spoilers yet?
Yep, we're in spoilers.
Okay, we're in spoilers. That everything is on a bagel is. I laughed so hard.
I did too.
At that
was
moment.
So awesome.
I just was like, oh my God. And because you see the characters with the black circle on their foreheads throughout. And it's like, okay, like a little cult, whatever.
Yeah.
Following Jobu Tupaki. But like to find out that that's the insignia of the bagel, which represents everything, is
that's so.
I love it.
That is. It's such a uniquely everything everywhere all at once thing. Like that is so, it fits so well in this film, this world. It's so cool. I thought it was really cool. Something that this is something I mentioned on Patreon that I don't know, maybe this is maybe this is like armchair, just like, this is not a fully formed thought, but I find it interesting that, and I don't know what, you remember how like at the end of the year episode in like 2017 or whatever, whenever like Knives Out and Ready or Not came out, and where like we had talked about how that's an interesting like reflection of our time. Like we're in a time where like a big thing is, like wealth disparity and everything.
Right.
And like, with this, I just find it interesting that like we're 2 years into, close to out of who knows where we're at with it, a pandemic, and like the like very just tumultuous time. And so we've got like the MCU going full multiverse. We've got A24 making a multiverse movie. We've got Sony Animation doing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Like, how interesting it is. And it's like, we're to the point culturally where it's like, maybe
we hope there's something else.
We hope there's something else going. Like, put hot dogs on our fingers. Like that's it. Like, I just find.
I think there's that. So I was trying to kind of almost predict like what you were going to say or what is the commentary, and maybe we'll kind of be able to say at the end of the year what that thing is that this year is. But it's obviously still early, but to me, like absurdity is almost kind of like the prevailing theme of movies lately. It's just like everything is so absurd. Yeah. Let's just lean into
the absurdity. The absurdity of giving Michael Bay a drone to film stuff with.
I think that movie was absurd. Yeah.
I did too, but I was entertained by it. Yeah. I really enjoyed it, but that's neither here nor there. There was another comment I was going to make, but it's spoilers for different movies. I think we talked about it anyway. Anyway, sure. Connections between like Scream and another movie that recently came out. Oh yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
So we gotta kind of wrap up soon, and I don't want to like hard cut it off.
No, we're fine.
But I want to just kind of mention a few moments that I would be remiss if we didn't mention. And sincere apologies to if one of my students listens to this. I'm sorry. The scene with we'll just say the Employee of the Month.
Yes.
The Auditor of the Month award trophies.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yep.
The scene with the Auditor of the Month trophies. I mean, I cackled for whatever it was, 6 minutes straight.
Me too.
Just and like in the like the arc of that scene where like they're kind of fighting, and then he like was messing with his belt, and it's like, oh my god, that's where he's going to like the big like jump off the top rope body slam onto it. To like them hanging as they're doing this really well choreographed and intricately framed and shot fight choreography.
Oh yeah.
And they're just like dangling there, and then she kind of like pulls them out, almost like she pulls swords out, you know, from.
Yes.
Oh, I just laughed so hard.
And I think you hit on the point really well. Like, it's the absurdity of it, the absolute absurdity of it.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's not even like the movie. The movie does take itself. It is earnest in its portrayal and everything, but just like it is so confident in its absurdity. That's why it works so incredibly well. Yep. It's just,
and it doesn't like hang its hat on absurdity. No. I don't think that's like the crux of the movie.
No, that's something that I was going to say, and I forgot when we were talking about Swiss Army Man. Like, Swiss Army Man is again a kind of an absurdist kind of idea. This this farting corpse, and like you said in non-spoiler, that movie does kind of wear out its welcome. It kind of has a little bit of a straightforward premise that doesn't really evolve all that much. But what I remember kind of honing in on that is the human aspect of it, that human connection that plays out, that the subtext of that. And what I find with Everything Everywhere All at Once is that it's like the Daniels have evolved from that to having this just vast, absurd concept that is so just malleable to different scenarios throughout the entire movie, while also having an incredibly well-rounded emotional through line and emotional subtext of this family drama and everything that is so layered and so rich, and it's beautiful. Like, it's absolutely beautiful. I think in my Letterboxd review I mentioned like I rated it 4.5 stars, and it is going to be up there on my top 10, I'm sure. But I like thinking about it, I was like, I could see this going up to 5 stars my next time I see it. Like, this could be a 5-star for me.
Yeah.
Just so incredible. Yeah.
Yep. We would be fools to not mention Jamie Lee Curtis. Apparently her character's name is Deirdre Beaudeirdre, which I was not aware of until I saw that
was the last name
on IMDb. It's Deirdre Beaudeirdre, which I love.
I love this movie so much.
So she is just having a blast the time of her life, and I I have a pretty non-secret crush on Jamie Lee Curtis, and I just love her so much. She's so fantastic and so hilarious in this. You want me to kind of make my final thought, and then you can kind of do a final thought and wrap it up?
Oh yeah.
So what I was hinting at in no spoilers is that while the action and the events and the emotional arc happens to Evelyn, Michelle Yeoh's character. I do think like the emotional center of the movie is Wayman's character, Kei Hui Kwan. And what I was alluding to in non-spoilers is that he begins as this unassuming dweeb who like she's annoyed with, and he's like so upset by their relationship that he is the one who wants to get a divorce. And then he's this like badass action star. There's a really cool, very Jackie Chan-esque kung fu choreography scene that's really awesome. And then so he kind of dips in and out of this this martial arts based character and then this dweeby husband character back and forth. But the film is bookended. Like the hero is not that martial arts version. It's this guy who is the dweeb. And then the film kind of suggests that like of all the things that you could do, kindness is a strength and that violence is a weakness. Right. And so that's kind of why I say early on, she has to tell Deidre that she loves her to kind of begin that process of understanding that if you begin with love and kindness, you maybe don't have to resort to violence. And then obviously,
that.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Oh, yeah.
And then so the movie kind of crescendos with this big fight scene where she's just like
she's
grabbing she's fixing people. Like, taking people and like putting their hands together so they can hold hands.
It's incredible. Fixing a guy's like back or whatever, his neck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
His nerve pinch or whatever.
Yeah.
And just kind of leading with kindness, discovering that on her own, and then realizing that's the angle that her husband takes is this kindness. And she put up these walls, which I think were built by her father, Gong Gong, played by James Hong. And then Wayman kind of helps her tear down those walls and then hopes to break that cycle with her daughter. And I just, as a kind of an anti-violent, kindness forward person, when you see a movie this fun and this interesting and this rich and subtextual that also like speaks to your own ethos, you have something special. And that's why I think this movie is so special. I mean, it works as its own. I think a lot of people would like it, but it speaks to me on a level that kind of matches up with my worldview.
Nice. That is beautifully said. And
thanks, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really have much else to add to it. I really loved this movie, and we're going to be talking about it in January, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And it's just, man, I don't know, 2022, man. So far, I mean,
good stuff so far.
Very good stuff so far, and. Man, I don't know. I'm excited. Also, I know you weren't as big a fan of this, but I mean, The Batman is on HBO Max now.
People loved that movie.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and say it. Yeah, I might do a commentary track on Patreon for it. But anyway, I don't really have any other thoughts. I thought I've said my piece. It's a fantastic movie. If you're listening to this and you're on the fence about it, and it's playing in a theater near you, go see it in a theater. I mean,
I'll say I don't mean to be elitist or a movie hipster or a film snob, but I don't think that this movie's for everybody.
No.
I would hesitate to like recommend it to everybody. I know that there were people in our theater who were not laughing at the jokes. I sound like such an a-hole. Like I got it on a level that people didn't understand. But like in that Auditor of the Month award scene, Jake and I are like losing our minds because it's so funny. And this woman kind of 2 seats down, like gets up to go use the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, man, You don't. I think I don't know what she said, but she was kind of like, I was like, oh, that's not for you. So
Counterpoint. What if she was going to the bathroom to use her own?
You might be right.
Of the month
she was like,
award?
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
She just remembered. You're probably right. You're probably right. Yeah.
But I think that it's the type of movie that you don't like, the absurdity level of it, the just kind of the uniqueness of it is something you don't really see. And I would really like to see, people see it in the theaters when they can.
If you like funny, weird kung fu with a heart, you'll like it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I think that'll do it for our review of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Mike, do you want to give just a quick, one sentence reaction to X? Because I haven't talked to you about X. Just really random. I know.
I don't know about one sentence, but I'll kind of give it an abbreviated. Yeah. I really loved it. That's one of the things. You've seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ty West is kind of an unsung hero of that genre. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that he has the best eye, or he writes the best scripts, or that his themes are otherworldly. I mean, it's a slasher film. I don't mean to pretend that it's high art, but what he does better than any director I can think of, and directors who are trying it. I mean, like Rob Zombie at the top of his game is trying to recreate the 70s look. Yeah. And I don't know how Ty West does it, but it is not just a movie filmed in 1974 or 76 or whatever it is. It looks like it was filmed in 76. Yeah. And I just can't believe he's able to achieve that. His other masterpiece is House of the Devil, which is one of my favorites. Love it. And it just looks I wish I could explain to people. It's not just set in 1982. It looks like it was filmed in 1982. Like, you would be confused if you didn't know any better and put it up side by side with one that was filmed the same year that it takes place. So I loved that aesthetic of it. Nice. I also thought the kills were great. I mean, slashers are back in a big way, and I'm so excited about that because that's bread and butter for me. So it was great. I loved it a lot. Nice. Yeah, I just need to get that. There's a chance I'll be talking about it at the end of the year as well. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I really dug it. There was some elements of it that, but I really liked the overall thing, and I'm excited for Pearl. Like, I think that's awesome that it's just, he's already filmed a prequel. Yeah. So that's cool. For sure. Yeah. All right. Well, before we go, Mike, why don't you tell us where we can find you online and where, we can find the new theme song? So excited. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that's right. We did do the theme song. I hoped you like it. As a person, you can find me just about anywhere at I am Mike White, specifically on Twitter. As a member of the band, we are As Good as It Gets. Or As Good as It Gets Music is where you can find all of our information. The song comes out tomorrow. You will find both the full version of the song and the theme song version of the song. And if you do like it, and if you're still listening, this is not one of our longer episodes, so hopefully you're still listening. Yeah. I'm sure they are. The thing that helps us out the most, if you do like it, is if you share the song, and more than anything, if you add the song to your playlists on Spotify or on Apple Music. We would appreciate that so much. You can find it anywhere. As Good as It Gets. Hoped you liked it. Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Mike. It's obviously a pleasure to talk to you all the time. Yeah. And thank you so much for, putting in the work to make our theme song. I think it's funny. Yeah. Do you ever think about the behind the scenes of the podcast you listen to? Like, how often, we're recording this conversation, but we talk to each other every day. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? I wonder if people... Do you think about that with other podcasts? Are they texting each other every day? Yeah. I don't. Well, here's the thing. No other podcasts exist except for the three that, that are under my banner. That's right. But if there were,
I would wonder like what goes on behind the scenes. Yeah. Which, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, you can check out Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer for the B-roll stuff and a bunch of extra content. Including the song shop recording on both our Patreon and your guys' Patreon at As Good As It Gets. So that should do it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Since we didn't say it at the beginning, my Twitter handle is @ObsessiveViewer on Twitter. And
you can find me at I am Mike White on Twitter.
There you go. And also follow us on Letterboxd. It's great. And I'm going to go ahead and play us out. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I think next week, I'm going to have an episode about the bad guys and another episode with Ben about the Northmen, and we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. So, so anyway, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. And now, here's a short clip from our Patreon exclusive RSS feed. To hear the full clip and more exclusive Patreon content, go to patreon.com/obsessiveviewer and become a patron at the minimum rate of $1 per month. Thank you and enjoy. Like this was a whole thing, but like in my new apartment, something happened to where the glaze of the tub like was eroded. I won't say why. I won't say no one's at fault. But they had to reglaze my bathtub, and so they told me that like I had to be out of the apartment for 24 hours while they did that because of the fumes and everything. So I needed to take pizza out of the apartment, and we stayed over at my girlfriend Jess's apartment for 24 hours, and she has a cat, and Pizza is a cat, and Pizza does not like other cats, so I felt terrible. Uh-oh. Yeah, I felt terrible because she was locked in the bathroom pretty much all day and all night, and I felt like I would go into the bathroom to comfort her, and then she'd be like hissing at me and like growling at the door. So it was a tumultuous time.
You monster.
I know, but we're home and everything's okay, and the tub works like a dream now.
It holds that water like you wouldn't believe.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
This podcast was edited and produced by Matt Hurt and presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find links to all of our shows at ObsessiveViewer.com/podcasts. For exclusive bonus content, including reviews, commentaries, and B-roll episodes, you can subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/ObsessiveViewer. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.